So if you want to ever routinely visit countries for leisure or leisure, you don't want to affect your muscles. And the English-speaking countries where the second love is the second language for everyone. It's where 25 languages merge, like the trilling and sort of the Americas and around Germany. And one redeeming factor for that effort is the point for the English speaking people to learn those very difficult languages to learn. I know they just want to feel good about themselves and about the tax import on. So, especially myself. In reality, the language part is only related to how similar it is to the line that you're on. And for an English speaker, it only takes 600 hours of dedicated study and practice to and reach the rich with their richness. And twice as long for the Greeks from Greece, the Geeks, and Arabs and Japanese settlers in Mandarin. So if you don't want to speak any of those languages, then pretty much the reverse applies. What is even more true is that those perks to learn the other languages in some ways and quirks place harder in twirl. So where we don't have this control is where we have the definite articles the table, the refrigerator, and there are no regular nouns in the gender. And seals and I don't have to say it out loud. For the French, I'd say "Je me parle plus un peu," and people would say "de chocolat." Le, the Americans is so stupid, and that would hurt my feelings because I was trying my best always. And when I'm learning English as a second language, I always say "c'est le chocolat, chocolat," and they're like, dude, what is it? What? And it's not so busy now, is it? And this is how and why it's been a world global superpower language for about millennia. Let's move on to the next topic. So let's give my thoughts on Eckhart Tolle. And was he really in tune and condemned? Eckhart Tolle is part of the ap 1960s humanist movement, essentially in Zen and math, the humanizing edges. And all of that was wrong because it was a polar bear conception and the self actualization, Aslo. And would it do Woody? No, it would not. So that's where I saw the first interaction commencing with their utterances and loose, transparent souls, and others communicating in parables, striving to break themselves and other people upward. But it's all within the humanist framework that is just, in the final analysis, BAPS. And it's weak. It can be tweaked and can't withstand ideological assault in any degree of resistance. And I found Eckhart Tolle to exist. And it's two of the books that he wrote. One of the Power of Now is one of the most important, tremendous pieces of trending meta. And in this very similar, different philosophers say, when you boil it down, even though it simmers, and the extracts you feel like you really get the observances and those important things for me. At least using tools to alleviate a lot of human twins and Nazov. And when I read that one, I knew that was Evadine Katniss, yes. And through the vault, I know it's in them. And Aslo. So let's move on to the next one. CD Armstrong's on dark matter and the invisible stuff. It fills in this unseen part of the universe with this manly sense of humor, with the concordance model, and we calculate predictions for quantities, and then we can measure. In one of those, that's the Hubble constant, the rate on which the universe currently expands. And unfortunately, different measurements for the Hubble rate has resulted in different values, and there's simply no predictions for this model that fills in the gaps. So it's called the Hubble tension. And there's a similar problem with another prediction that's not for quantity called sigma 8. It's not like a forced matter of clumps in the universe. Sigma 8 has a similar problem as the Hubble constant. It's a different management, and I know that the different management does not approve of this email. I quote this in Sigma 8 Tension. It's such a clunky name, making headlines under the title that the universe is clumpy enough, and it has a distribution paradox, and that it's tubed and thin. And no matter what you think about the status of theory development, let me show you. I'll show you. I just find it so amazing that we even have this measurement to talk about. I know when I am a strudel, I basically philosophize, and now I have data from like a dozen different measurements, cosmic microwave backgrounds and quasars, supernovae, and gravitational lenses too bad for close to just to guess. And I look at these gravitational lenses in big gaps and clusters collected by this experiment called the Dark Energy Survey. And this data, it extracts a quantity for a wild potential for a deformation of space and time. It basically tells me how strong the gravitational potential is that light has to go in and then out. In as it passes the galaxies and these clusters, I expect the universe to get older, and I know that these potential worsening depths are clumped up, and I know that under the ICBM model, it's not supposed to get deeper, and you saw it coming. The calculation doesn't fit the measurement, and the universe hasn't been clumping enough. And as you can see in this figure of mine, the picture of the data, well, it's not great. And there isn't a lot of data. This is why the statistical significance is not all that high.